Hey guys, Eternal here. Okay, and now that I've gone through all the DC Extended Universe so far, it is now time to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League. So if you saw my review for the theatrical release of Justice League, I was saying how I really did not like that film. I just really was very disappointed with it and felt that it was a pretty big letdown. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I was saying in my review for the theatrical release, it really was just like an example of how rushed the DC Extended Universe really was as early on. Yeah, and the film really just seemed like so rushed and unorganized, and it really left out like a lot of stuff that it really could have done. So was very disappointed with the theatrical release of Justice League, and I know I wasn't alone with on that. Yeah, a lot of people really did feel very disappointed and let down with the theatrical release of the movie. Yeah, but yeah, and of course, like behind the scenes for that movie, as I was talking about in my review for the theatrical release, during filming, Zack Snyder started off directing the film, of course, but yeah, as I'm sure everyone knows, yeah, Zack Snyder ended up leaving the film during filming yeah, because of his daughter's death. So Zack Snyder ended up leaving the film, and he was yeah, the direction was placed in the hands of Joss Whedon. Yeah, and of course Joss Whedon did a whole bunch of reshoots and stuff, and so yeah, and of course, it led to what we ended up getting in 2017 when the theatrical film was released. Yeah, so yeah, and apparently, from what I've heard, apparently, the film was also had some executives from Warner Brothers interfering with it. Yeah, so due to the stuff that happened behind the scenes with Joss Whedon and Warner Brothers executives and all that, it really made the film just a very unorganized mess, to be honest, and just very rushed. So yeah, and like I said in my review for the theatrical film, I really don't know who's to blame for how the theatrical release turned out, whether it was Joss Whedon or Warner Brothers executives or whoever else could have possibly gotten involved with it. So I really don't know who's to blame for it, but regardless, yeah, the film just really turned out being just a very rushed mess. Yeah, but yeah, but then yeah, once like after HBO Max was launched, yeah, in 2021, Zack Snyder then released his own director's cut for the film, which is really how he did originally envision the film and how he really wanted it to be. So yeah, and like I said, it was released onto HBO Max in I believe it was March of 2021. Yeah, yeah, and when it was released, yeah, people really did love it, and they said how it was really just so much better than the theatrical release. Yeah, but I had never actually watched it before because I don't know, just seeing that it was a 4 hour film. Watching it seemed to be kind of a commitment. So yeah, so I never actually did get around to watching it. But yeah, I did finally watch the film now to so I could finally give my a, thoughts about it. Yeah, and I could really make the review for it. Yeah, and yeah, and I did give the movie a watch, and yeah, this really was yeah, this really was just so much better than the theatrical release. Yeah, this is really what we should have actually gotten to see in the theater because yeah, this really was just how I'm sure a lot of people really did want to see this film really turn out. Yeah, this film just did this was just so much better, and yeah, this really was a pretty great version of the film. Yeah, just yeah, this really was just really great, honestly. Yeah, this really just had so much more. Of course, with it being 4 hours, which was double in length pretty much than the theatrical release. Like that was like a sign that like this film really was going to have so much more than the theatrical release. Yeah. And yeah, and it really did. Plus, yeah, it really did like change like a whole lot more from the theatrical release. Like like as I was watching this film, I really like did notice how it really didn't really have like that much that was like still in the theatrical release. This film really did have like just like a whole bunch of not just like a whole bunch of new stuff, but yeah, it really did have a lot of different stuff in it too. So yeah, so this film really did just like tell the story just so much better. Like we did get like so much more that was told in the film. Yeah, and we really did get like a lot of stuff that the theatrical release really was like lacking in the film. Yeah, it really did like tell a better story for the villain. Like a Steppenwolf's story in this film, it really was just like told so much better in this film than it was in the theatrical film. Like the theatrical film was just like very like rushed, and it really was seemed to be like very lacking. Yeah. Plus, yeah, like I said, with the theatrical film, it really was just like a very like rushed mess, and it really didn't tell much of a story. Like pretty much like what the theatrical release was just like it was pretty much just like Justice League is formed. Like we see the characters, like we see like Bruce and Diana, like they see like they come across Arthur, Barry, and Victor, and they try to recruit them, and eventually they succeed in doing it. Justice League is formed. They like get into a fight, then they bring back Superman, and then Superman is just like going through the stuff that he doesn't remember. But then yeah, then he very quickly regains his memories. Then he springs into action, and he helps the gang take out Steppenwolf, and that's really it. Yeah, so it really just seemed to be like so rushed and not really telling much of a story. But here, yeah, they really did do, it really did actually tell like a story here. Like they really do like go into more detail. They like talk about like the backstory for the setup for the film with like how Steppenwolf is trying to really get the mother boxes and merge them together so he can really like form an army to pretty much like take over the earth. Yeah, and in this film, like throughout the film, it really does show how Steppenwolf really is just like going to the various locations to try to obtain the three mother boxes. Yeah, and it really is done like in a similar way that like Thanos was like trying to capture all the Infinity Stones in Infinity War. It really was done very similar to that. Yeah, and the film really does do like very good at actually telling this story for Steppenwolf and having him like go after the mother boxes throughout the film and really like merge them together so he can form the unity to actually take over the earth. So this film really does tell that story really good, and the backstory for it is also like really nicely told as well. Yeah. Plus, yeah, and in this film, we really just get like a lot more development of the characters. In this film, like we actually do see Bruce and Diana still actually working to actually find Arthur, Barry, and Victor to actually recruit them to form the Justice League in the film. So we do see like more of that in this film. We actually do see them working together, trying to track the other three down. Yeah. So at least this version still is actually like showing how they still are working to do that, as opposed to in the theatrical film where it really is just how they are like still like they're just like looking for them, but it's not really like a set around it, and we really don't see much of the two of them actually working together to actually find them. So this really does like establish how they really are working to actually try to track the others down. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and in this film, like we do like get like some more footage of like them really like them encountering the other three. As this film opens up, like in the opening of the film, like during the opening credits, it does like show how like Bruce actually like arriving at the bar that he tries to recruit Arthur at. So yeah, and it actually does show him arriving in this time to actually recruit Arthur, and he actually like walks into the bar and looks for him. Yeah, as opposed to how it is in the theatrical film where we just like see him in the bar like trying to recruit Arthur. So so yeah, this film does at least like have more of it in this film. Yeah. Yeah, and something else that I really did like notice about this film is that some of the stuff like that was actually in the theatrical release that is still in this version. It is like shown like kind of differently, like in the scene like in the beginning where it shows Wonder Woman stopping the bank robbery. Like the inside of the bank, it seems to be like a little bit dimmer than it actually was in the theatrical release. So yeah, so I did find that like kind of interesting. Yeah. Plus, in the scene where she like does stop the bank robbery, we do see like more of it. Like it shows like her actually like taking out like some of the other accomplices in the robbery, and not just the main assailant. So yeah, so I am glad that it at least does like show more of that and her really like being like more of her in action. Yeah, yeah, and I do think that like there may have been like some more of that in this version, also more of her you're like stopping the bank robbery in this version. Yeah, yeah, and in this film we also do kind of like it like more to, like we get more of Arthur, Barry, and Victor in the film before like we really just like see them being recruited. Like we do actually see Arthur in Atlantis, and we do actually see a scene with him actually talking with uh, where he is talking with a Volko. Oh, so yeah, so I did think it was kind of cool that we actually did see Volko appear in this film, and yeah, and it is still Willem Dafoe playing the role. Yeah, so I did think that it was kind of cool to see Willem Dafoe make an appearance in the film like that. Yeah, and we do like see Arthur in Atlantis. Yeah, and it shows how like the the three mother boxes, like one is in um uh, uh Themyscira, one is in um Atlantis, and then the other I think is just like on Earth. Yeah, and it shows how like Steppenwolf sends like his army to actually try to retrieve the boxes as well. And yeah, and when it is down in Atlantis, we actually do see like Arthur or fighting them off. So yeah, so at least we do actually get to see Arthur actually being in action before he actually does join up with the Justice League. So yeah, so I am glad that we do get at least get to see him in action like that. So at least like we do get to see like some of him and actually form somewhat of a connection with him before he actually like comes into he actually does join up with the Justice League. Yeah. Yeah, and we do also actually see Barry before like the his first appearance in the theatrical film. Yeah, we actually do see him actually like displaying some of his powers as he does like save this woman from like being a victim in like some sort in like a car crash. Yeah, so yeah, so we do at least get to see him like kind of like displaying his powers. Before he actually does get recruited by Bruce. Yeah, yeah, and speaking of which, like as I was just saying a minute ago with the Wonder Woman bank robbery scene, like yeah, in the scene when Bruce actually does recruit Barry, like I noticed that that did kind of like seem to have a little bit different camera work too. Like in the shots where it does show like Barry like talking with Bruce, kind of like with the whole "stop right there, I'm in" stuff. Like it seemed like the camera was like kind of like a little bit panned out a little bit it more than it was in the theatrical film. It wasn't like as close up to Barry as it was in the theatrical film. So yeah, so that was something else that I noticed was like kind of different from the theatrical film too. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and in this film we also do get like more like backstory for Victor and how he really did become cyborg in this film. Like in this version, it really like does go into like more of his backstory, kind of like showing like how he really did become cyborg. It was kind of like sort of like a whole like a $1 million man and RoboCop kind of a story where he like was in a really bad car accident and then like he like got like this surgery or something with the like cybernetic body to become cyborg. Yeah, so it really does like go into more detail about cyborg's backstory as well, which I did like as well. Yeah, so it does like give Arthur, Barry, and Victor more development in this version than in the theatrical film, where like everything really just seems to be like very vague and we really don't know much about them. So yeah, so at least in this version, like they actually do like have like a more development. So yeah, so I was glad to see that. Yeah, and also just like the battle scenes in this film are are like so much better than they are in the theatrical film. Like we really do get some like really cool battle scenes in the film, whether with like the Justice League fighting with Steppenwolf and his army. Yeah, so yeah, so the fight scenes in this film are a lot more cooler than they were in the theatrical film. Yeah, yeah. We also get like another appearance of Commissioner Gordon before we actually do see him in the theatrical film. Like we actually do kind of like see him at the police station getting some notes. Yeah. Though aside from that, like there's not really a whole lot more of Commissioner Gordon in the film. So yeah. So yeah, I was talking in my review for the theatrical film how like J.K. Simmons really doesn't get to shine in this film as Commissioner Gordon like he did as Jameson in the Spider-Man films. Yeah, and he still really doesn't get that here. Yeah. So yeah, so they really didn't like do too much with J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon in the film. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, yeah, and like I said, it really does talk more about like kind of like the backstory for the three mother boxes in the film. It was like the story like is like talking about how like thousands of years ago, Darkseid and his parademons were trying to take over the Earth using the combined energies from the mother boxes, but he was foiled by the Olympian gods, Amazons, Atlanteans, humanity, and extraterrestrial beings. Then after they fled, the mother boxes ended up being separated and hidden in different locations. And so yeah, and with yeah, and with a Steppenwolf this film like it opens up kind of like showing like a recap of like Superman's death from Doomsday. Yeah, and they like explain how like after like Superman's death, like the reactivation for the mother boxes were triggered, which ended up attracting a Steppenwolf. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So yes, and then that's how like Steppenwolf is like really trying to like um gathering the boxes to form the Unity, which can actually terraform Earth into a copy of their homeworld. So yeah, and like I said, like throughout the film, it really does show a Steppenwolf and his army like searching for the three mother boxes, and they like go to Themyscirian and Atlantis, and yeah, and they really are just like searching for the boxes. Like I said, it's very similar to like how Thanos was going after the Infinity Stones in Infinity War. Yeah, and they really do a good job of telling the story. Like the story really is done so well. Yeah, 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 and also like uh, uh in the film it shows how the team really is like they decide to bring Superman back in a different way than they did it in the theatrical film. Like they don't really do anything like saying how like they should just like accept that Superman's dead and all that stuff. Yeah, they don't do any of that. They just learn how um after the um one of the mother boxes was able to like help to save Victor and bring him back. They realize that they can do the same thing with Superman, and they decide to bring him back to help take out Steppenwolf and his army. So yeah, so they do it like a whole lot better. They don't really just like say, "Yeah, we can't do it." Like, there's no point in that. We should just accept it. Yeah, they don't do any of that. Like, they do realize that they can bring Superman back, and there's no hesitation from it. So yeah, so they do it a whole lot better. Yeah, and plus, yeah, the whole thing with bringing Superman back is done like a whole lot better in the film as well. In the theatrical film, it was like they really just rush it. They dig up Superman's body, they retrieve it, but then they put it in the uh, fluid, and then they just activate the mother box, and boom, he's back. Yeah, they just like do it very quickly in the theatrical release. This time they really do take their time with it. Like it shows them like recovering Clark's body, and yeah, then it shows how they really have to are really sneaking back into the Star Lab to actually bring him back. Like it shows how they really are sneaking in, and it shows how Victor's father, Solus, is even like helping them get in and to bring Superman back. Yeah, yeah, and when they actually he do bring Superman back, like I said, it is done like a lot better than it is in the um theatrical film. We don't actually see him opening his eyes back up when the mother box is activated to bring him back, like it is like we do in the theatrical film. Here we don't actually see him actually waking up. Like we do see the mother box being activated, but yeah, it just fires out like a beam, and we just see him, like Clark being brought back. Yeah, 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 and I think like when he is actually resurrected, like the whole thing with like him not having his memories and fighting with the team, yeah, I think that has been like altered some. Yeah, yeah, and even like when what I do know is altered is like when he actually is face to face with Batman. Yeah, it's not like he doesn't really do the same thing that he did in the theatrical film where he grabs him by his throat and hoists him up. Like instead he just fires the beams from his eyes to Batman. Yeah, but then of course like Lois eventually then arrives and then he settles down and then he goes back to Smallville with Lois to regain his memories. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, and yeah, and like I said, just the whole thing with Superman in Return, it really is done like so much better in the film. It shows him like there is more of him in at home with his mother. Yeah, then yeah, then when he does regain his memories and he realizes that the others really need him, this time he actually does don on the black solar suit. So yeah, so I really was happy to really see that they actually did give him the black suit this time, even if they didn't really follow the entire storyline with it. The original storyline with him in the solar suit was done like a lot differently, and there was a lot more to it. So yeah, so they didn't really follow that whole angle. But yeah, I was at least glad that they did actually give him the black suit to wear this time around. Yeah, yeah, that was something that I was very upset about in the theatrical film that he didn't do it. Like he didn't wear it because yeah, like I was saying in my review for the theatrical film, like uh, there were like pictures online showing him wearing it, but yeah, it didn't actually appear in the theatrical film. So that was like one of the things I was the most disappointed about. But yeah, I was happy to see that they actually did give him the suit this time to wear. So yeah, was happy to see that. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, and yeah, and there is more to the fight with Steppenwolf and his army. Yeah, we do get a battle scene with them with the five members of the Justice League fighting with Steppenwolf and his army before Superman does actually arrive to help. Yeah, and it really is just so much better here than like uh what we got in the theatrical release with just them going after Steppenwolf. Yeah, we actually do get another battle scene here, and yeah, and it really is a pretty cool battle scene to watch. Yeah. Yeah, and then as they are really trying to um prevent the unity from forming, as they really are trying to keep uh, the mother boxes from actually forming up to bring them in, and it shows how Steppenwolf and the Parademons were fighting with the other members of the Justice League, and we got a cool fight between Wonder Woman and Steppenwolf, which was really awesome to see. Yeah, and this time it doesn't show a Flash just running to save the townspeople like it was in the theatrical release. This time it really is just him running to try to really get enough energy to activate the um uh, mother boxes to boxes to really prevent the unity. Yeah, then like as a Cyborg was really trying to hold everything together, as Steppenwolf was getting involved, like trying to attack him. Eventually, Superman then did arrive and was able to help fight off Steppenwolf. But it showed how initially Barry didn't get there in time to give the charge to the boxes, and it actually showed the unity actually forming. But then, then like of course, Flash was able to. Enter the Speed Force to like reverse time to give Cyborg the necessary charge to stop um the Unity. Then then they were able to decapitate Steppenwolf and send him back to Darkseid on Apocalypse through a portal. And like I said, just like the whole stuff with Steppenwolf was just like there was a lot more to it this time, and and seeing the Justice League in action was just like so much cooler to see because they did it just so much better this time. They really Zack Snyder really just he really did give the people what they really did want to see when this film was first released. So was really they just really did like so great with like actually having the Justice League in action here. Yeah, yeah. Then in the ending of the film, like there was like more to that as well. I think like there was a little bit more to like the stuff at the end with Lex Luthor and Deathstroke. I think there was a little bit more of that. Then we got like this a this scene where it was like an apocalyptic future showing how Batman was leading like Cyborg, Mira, and some others into a fight. And we actually did have an appearance of Jared Leto's Joker, talking to Batman. And like everybody has said, Jared Leto just was like so much better here as the Joker than he was in Suicide Squad. Like a much better performance, a much better design for the character. So Jared Leto, while it was just one scene, he really did have some redemption here from like after like how bad his portrayal as the Joker was in Suicide Squad. So the scene with Jared Leto's Joker, he really was just like he was a lot better here. But then it showed then like Superman arriving, and then it was like revealed it was just a dream. But then we got like a really awesome ending where it showed then Bruce got a visit in his home from Martian Manhunter. Seeing Martian Manhunter, that just gave me chills. Like seeing him in this film was just really cool. Yeah, and then he was just thanking Bruce for assembling the Justice League and promising to be in contact, and just alerted Bruce to just prepare for Darkseid's return as he flew off. And that's how the film ended. So this film really just like did like so much more, and it really did just tell the story so much better. This really was just like a much better version of the film than the theatrical release. Like I said, I don't know who's to blame for like how the theatrical release turned out, whether it was Joss Whedon or Warner Brothers executives or whoever else could have gotten involved with it. But Zack Snyder releasing this film, he really did do the Justice League and the film justice, and this really was just done. This really was just like so much better, and this was really what I really wish we could have gotten to see in the theater. And I'm sure a lot of other people really would have wanted it too. Like I get that they probably couldn't have really released this in the theater with the length that it has at 4 hours, but I'm sure they probably could have cut some stuff, maybe trimmed down some of the battle scenes a little bit and trimmed out maybe a few other things, and maybe make this a 3 hour film, maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, and this really would have gotten done much better than the theatrical release did. So it just sucks that this version didn't get to be released in the theater. But at least it is around now, and it does at least do the Justice League justice, no pun intended, right there. So I am. So if nothing else, I just really am glad that this version is out now, and people do get a chance to see what Zack Snyder really did intend for this film to really be. So yeah, so this really was just like a much better film all around than the theatrical release was. So yeah, so I think I would probably give this film probably like 3.75 stars out of 4. Like really just a real great film, and it really is like better than a lot of the DC films. I think like the only one that really is better than in this is Wonder Woman. But yeah, it still is like a real great film. Yeah. Yeah, so so this film really does show that Zack Snyder really does know what he is doing when he's directing these films. Yeah, really makes me wonder if maybe like studio executives also did get involved with of the production for Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, because yeah, of course, like people felt that those films were like did really like under deliver, especially Batman versus Superman. So yeah, so it really does make me wonder if maybe like studio executives did get involved with the productions for those films as well, and really like prevented them from being like what Zack Snyder really did want them to be. So it makes me wonder if maybe like sometime Zack Snyder may also release director's cuts for Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman sometime in the future to really like show like how he actually did envision those films to be. Like I know that like there is the Ultimate Edition of Batman vs Superman, but yeah, that's only like 30 minutes longer than the theatrical version. So yeah, so there's not really like a whole lot more in that version. So yeah, so it really does really make me wonder if maybe like someday Zack Snyder will also release director's cuts for those two films as well to really like show like how he really did possibly envision those films to be as well. So yeah, so maybe like Zack Snyder really was not really the one to blame for like how those films really did turn out. So yeah, so who knows? I mean, will we ever get like the director's cuts for those films as well? I guess only time will tell. Yeah, yeah, and but yeah, it also really does just like kind of suck that like this film still is not actually like canon to the DC extended universe. Like the theatrical release still is like the one that really is canon to the universe. So yeah, so the stuff that this film, all the like additional stuff that this movie has, and everything that this film does do better than the theatrical release, it's not going to carry over to the anything with the DC's films in the future. At least it doesn't seem likely that it will. Like, of course, like with Batman wearing the black Batman, Superman wearing the black suit in this film. That of course like doesn't carry over because he's just wearing his regular suit at in the mid credit scene of Black Adam. So yeah, so that obviously didn't carry over, and it doesn't seem like there really just anything that this film really did do differently from the theatrical film will really carry over to the future of the DC extended universe as well. So yeah, so that really does suck. Yeah, but and one more thing that I guess I will ask is like like does should DC actually bring Zack Snyder back to direct future films? Me personally, I really don't think that DC really does need him back, despite like how great this film was. I really don't really think that they need him back because, like, as I've been like saying in my like the reviews for the movies that I did after the theatrical release of this film, like DC really did seem to really be improving. And after like Zack Snyder was gone, so so I really don't think that they really do need him back. I think DC is doing just fine with what they really are doing now. How they really have taken a different turn with the universe and really focused more on just like solo films rather than having it like do the same thing as Marvel does and really like have it be like a lead up to like a bunch of crossovers. I don't know, like maybe we'll get some more crossovers from DC in the future. Maybe we'll get like a Justice League sequel sometime, or maybe like we'll get like some other like team up films from DC in the future. But yeah, as far as like how it is right now, I think DC is doing just fine, and I personally don't really think that they do really need to bring Zack Snyder back. I think they really are doing just fine the way they are. Yeah. But yeah, even then, like, yeah, this is still like a really great film, a much better version of a Justice League than the theatrical film was. So yeah, it is. So yeah, I definitely give it a recommendation, especially like if you were like very disappointed with the theatrical release, just like I was. Watch this film and just see like how much better it really is, and yeah, just see like how great Zack Snyder really can be and how he really does know what he's doing. So this was just definitely like a much better version of the film, and I would definitely give it a recommendation. And this is really the film that you really want to remember the Justice League by. And this is really just like how you really do want to remember the film being, rather than the rush mess that we got when it was released in the theater. So overall, definitely a great film, and I really did like it a lot. So so I guess that's all I really have to say about it. All right. So this is my review of Zack Snyder's Justice League. So I hope you guys enjoyed what I had to say about the film. I know I probably didn't really talk about like absolutely everything that this film did, but it's a 4 hour film. So if I really did talk about like everything this film really did do, this review probably would have lasted like 2 hours. But I really did try to talk about like as much as like of the big stuff in this film that it contained as I could. So hopefully I did talk about enough for you guys. All right, but so I hope you guys enjoyed what I had to say about this film. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.